Order submitted. Order cancelled.
Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. It is Thursday, the 17th of October. And we started off with quite a big move up, actually. Broken all new highs yet again. We seem to be constantly breaking highs. So let me have a look. I think there's a possibility we could even go higher. Hey, Kev, how you doing? So I have taken a trade earlier just on the one account. 2 contracts. I just got a 1.5 there. I just wanted to kind of get below that bar there, but we got a steep channel, a channel a little bit less steep with a clear breakout or clear overshoot. And I kind of like that, so I thought that was worth going. I thought we'd get a steep pullback, and we have 2 nice legs back. Quick question. Do you know if the payout is still pending? And I trade, does it count? That's the day for the next payout. Yeah, I think when you put it in, yes, it does. Because some people have been waiting like 10 days, and that would take 10 days off. So yeah, it does. So once you put your payment in, I believe from the next day onwards, that counts as your first day again, and so on. But they are bringing this down, I believe, to only 8 days. So the trouble is, there's about 20 trading days on average, and that gives you 10 for one payment, 10 for next. So you've got no room to maneuver, really. If you miss a day's trading, potentially you can't take 2 payments. But bringing it down to 8 days, that's 16 days. It gives you an extra 4 days worth of breathing space. I also took you can see it there, an evaluation there, the lower high, I thought, after that overshoot, and it worked beautifully. Are you planning to get any more evals? I got one yesterday. I've still got this one from yesterday. I get them now and again. When I pass one of my accounts. My accounts are looking okay at the moment. They're around about $1,000. There's one that's $1,900, one that's $1,400. So they're not too bad at the moment, my accounts at the moment. Yes, I do know him, yeah. Well, I don't know him personally, but I know him as a streamer. Yeah, I don't know what connection you've got with him. Live stream tomorrow, limited time, 90% off Flash Stern Apex. Yeah, what he's doing, I think, is it's 80% off, but there's a reduction in the larger one, so that works out about 90%. John Patrick's live stream tomorrow for a limited time only, flash sale and Apex evaluations. Yeah, if I go, let me give you an example. If I go into my Apex and take an evaluation first, say the 150, we're having a decent pullback, aren't we? So if I log in there, and if I go into Rhythmic and go into, say, 150 account. So if I come down, I just want to see how much. So I'm going into the 150, and I just want to see how much this is charging me. Okay, so that's charging me $50 down from it's normally so that's the 150 is $50, so that works out at 90%. I'm pretty sure it does. It's normally $250. Let's have a look. I'm pretty sure that works out 90% off. Let's have a look. 250. My maths isn't what it used to be. It does work out a bigger percentage. That's why I think you might be thinking that way. So no, that's 80%, isn't it? Hold on a minute. Let me just retry that one. That was on the 150, isn't it? Let's just go back a minute. Let's do the 250. I thought there was a 200. There isn't, is there? Yeah. Okay. Same again. $50. That's for the 250. 250. So normally the 250 is, what's the price? I forget what it is normally. But I've just done the 150, and that is $50, and the 250 is $50. Mind you, that's a massive pullback, isn't it? Let's go for the 300. So this is the 300,000 one. And this is $50. Do you see what I mean? So it actually, you get up to about 93%, I think, all in all. But the 150 is $50. The 250 is $50. The 350 is $50. So when you think about it like that, it does work out at 90%. That is normally £500, I think, for the 300. So that's I think it works out about 92%, something like that. So, yeah. So if you think about the 300, that will give you 90% off. So What's it tends to do it like that. There's another streamer tends to do it like that. I don't tend to work out the details like that, but the if you see on here, the 150, 250 and 300 are all 80% off. But if they're all the same price, the 300, which is normally more than the 150, is got to be more than 80% off. Do you see what I mean? So I don't know what the full price is normally of the 300,000, but there's more than 80% off the 300,000. I don't know what the normal price is. I might find out what the normal price is, but yeah, it sounds like it's just a better deal. That's all. Let's find out what the normal price is on them. I can't remember. I can't find out what it says. But no, I mean, if it was a flat 80% off them all, once you get to the 150, 250 and 300, they're all $50. So there's actually more. So it works out about 90% or 92%, something like that. So it won't get any better deal than the rest of us. We all get the same sort of, we all get the same kind of discount. So there you go. Speedy, how you doing, buddy? Tone, how you doing, mate? I said hello to you, Kev. Yeah. Right. Wow, that's a pullback and a half, isn't it? I kind of wish I'd have held there. So channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. Let me just have a look here. A leg and a leg. I'm going to get an order ready here.
Order
just in
submitted.
case. Because we've got channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go high. It's got to be up here tight, though. So we've got a leg and a leg. Nothing I can do at the moment. So let's see if we get a lower high just in case it does decide to go up. but we have got 2 legs up. See, you could argue there's an overshoot there. In fact, I think there probably is. But an overshoot, you can get just a bigger correction, and that looked like a correction or a complete reversal, or sometimes it'll break out the same the other side and continue down. I'm not sure about this. This really needs to push below that EMA before I'd even consider a short trade. So channel break, new high. See if we can get a lower high here. From there to there. Are you on about from here? Yeah, we're a little bit past it, aren't we? Tough one, really. If this pushes down nice and bearish, this may interest me. But what you've got to be careful of is we don't get caught in something like that. This comes down here, gives us a lower high. It could trigger that and create a second entry long. That bar's not very good anyway, so it's more neutral, really, that. So that's fine. I would have preferred that move to push below, but as it's holding, I mean, this just could be
Order canceled.
61% level ICT preachers of the gold. Does it really? Yeah, isn't it 61.8 or something like that, isn't it? What do they call it? The golden ratio? I don't know. It's been a while since I've done anything like that. We could have just a bigger correction, something like that. Who knows? See, I mean, looking at it, really, let's have a look. Actually, if you connect those areas, what does the top look like? See, it doesn't look right now, but it could continue up. It could go up. We could have a leg and a leg, and we'd come down at the bottom here, and then you'd be looking more at a range. I mean, we've had, you could see that and a leg up, so we could have, we could come down some more. So that's interesting. So you've got a sort of a bearish, slightly bearish bar there, and it's triggered. So the trouble is now it's going a little bit sideways, so which means that it's kind of, as we know, there's sort of a bit of an area of indecision here. So it could continue down, or we could have a leg and a leg. It's hard to say. Let me just connect the top of that with the top of that red bar. Yeah, I mean, if you take this thin channel out the way, this could work. We could have a leg up and a leg up. So 1, 2, 3, maybe another push, a triple test, and then down. That would make sense for a range day. In fact, my gut feeling is telling me what I'm seeing with the sideways, it's probably more likely going to happen. So let's just clear this up. So we've had an overshoot here. We've had 2 legs up. So 1, 2, 3. If we get a third attempt to go higher, that will be a triple test. So because of that overshoot, there may just be a steeper correction. So just for now, I'm going to bin that just to make it a bit clear. So 1, 2, 3 could be a triple test. Trouble is, you have got to be careful because it could come down here and bounce here and push up some more. So, that is very tempting to go short there. If that ends up bearish, very tempting.
Order submitted.
How big is it? Ticks. I was kind of
Order
hoping
cancelled.
it would finish crap, to be honest with you. If that finished really bearish, 1, 2, 3, that could send it down. But to be honest with you, a leg sideways and then a leg, I think it's hard to say really, but we know when we get a leg go sideways, we often get kind of a mirror image, don't we? So there's probably going to be some short stops above there. So if we can push above there, then I would say we've got a good chance of getting these two legs up. It looks like it, doesn't it? Something like that, which would get us up to here. But this could turn now. Okay, so you got a bearish bar. I wouldn't take that at the moment. It could trigger you and continue up because it's still above this little bit here. It's still holding above this at the moment. See, it may just be a steeper correction because this moved down. It's a. If this gets above there, I'd say we likely have our legs then. It looks like it's going to, doesn't it? So let's put that there. So if we can get above that bar there, I'd say that this is likely we have our other leg up, but it could just turn down quick. It's hard to say at the moment. We need to get above there, I'd say. This looks like it's about getting ready to push. Once it gets above there, it'll find it a bit easier, I think. Triple test long here, did you? Yeah, see, if I was going to take a triple test bump, I would prefer that. I'm assuming you took that one. I would prefer that sat on top of here, really, to get a decent... This thing could just flush down. It's struggling a little bit. We got a little triple top here. This could... Well, look at it. So, 1, 2. I'm assuming you took that one, or did you take that one? Probably that one. I think you just got your 2 points, didn't you? So we're looking about there, aren't we? So I'm assuming you got in early, didn't you? I think you did the right thing. I wouldn't be shocked if this comes down here. This, to me, is going sideways for too long, really, for me to think now there's a channel up. No, that doesn't look right to me now. I feel this is going to come down and break below these few bars here. The higher one. Yeah. In fact, I was thinking sideways. I think now it's more that way, isn't it now? if we get above here, I think it'll be okay. Okay, so I think we may have a couple of legs up here now. I mean, it could still come down, couldn't it? So there's that 50% area, a leg and a leg. Because of that overshoot, you got in at 59.0650. Yeah, it's going to push up a little bit more here at yeah, we could still come down here. We really could. I'm certainly not looking to take longs just yet anyway. Let's have a look. Let me just join these again. We're past this now, I think. Let's just have to wait and see. Excuse me, there's the 50% level. So I think now this could come down. Well, look at that now. See, if you bring this down here to there and maybe start it from here somewhere, you could say there's an overshoot there, but look at that, it came right down, then pushed back up. So I'd like to push down in a channel and then 2 attempts to go higher and then hopefully down from there, but I feel now that there's a good chance this is going to come down for these lows. So you may call that an overshoot. We've certainly pushed above that 50% level and then dropped back. So that's a good sign. So I'd like a little channel down here with a couple of attempts to go higher, then hopefully we start working down. What I'd like to see is something like that, somewhere along those lines. And hopefully then work its way down, whether we get a breakdown here. But that, based on this, I don't think it's a terrible trade. That I think that's probably the safest one there, if it does what I think it'll do. But what you think's going to happen and what you're really sure about are quite different. So I'm just going to have to sit tight here and wait for proper confirmation we're coming down. But I feel something like that. Maybe if it does come down, the channel's somewhere around about there or something like that. Maybe a bit wider. So we kind of got a leg up and a leg. We've had that 50% retracement. We've pushed above it and pulled back down, and we have dropped now. So I think there's a good chance now we move down. So whether we go for something like this, it looks a bit odd now, but by the time we get down here, if we do, I don't know. It's hard to say, really. It may continue up. There may be something wider there. It could be a two-tier channel going up. It could be something like that. If we have two legs down and bounce here, it could continue up. So there's a bunch of things it could be, really. But as we've had that 50% pullback, and then we sold pretty quickly, I think there's a good chance we're more likely come down here. But that's just an educated guess, nothing more. So here's our channel down. So we need a break from it. Something like that, I'm guessing. Couple of legs up and then down some more. We don't want it to career down. We want something like that, really. Couple of legs, and that will get us close to these lows. It may not even give us it. It may just come tumbling down. That's not going to go back up now. For me, it's aiming towards this. We want a nice little pullback, or a little break, and a nice short here. But sometimes, I mean, it's looking really like it's going to push down, and the more it looks like it's coming down, the less chance it has of having a pullback, and the more chance it has of just going down. That's the frustrating thing, really. I mean, the picture leg is looking like this is where we're going, so I think there's a fair chance we are. But a lot of times here, it'll just do this, give a little pullback, and then continue down, where we're looking for something like this. See, there is a first entry there. So actually, that's a second entry long. I just can't take these here. That's good. If I take a short here, it's at least got to touch that. Ideally, push through it. Ideally, a clearer break. Not just that. I mean, it is technically a failure, but it's got to at least make a couple of attempts to go up for me, really. But I think there's a fair chance now this is going to come down, unless there's a two-tiered channel, in which case this could be a break. But for me, that's a leg down with a pullback. So I think there's a good chance we have another leg down. If we do, we'll break them lows. So I'm going to take a riskier trade here, but a gut feeling one. This is only an evaluation, by the way.
Target filled.
Nice quick $600 there. Need a lower high here, really. It's very tempting to take that, but we could have another push up, so I'm going to sit tight here. So that was another quick $600 there, so that worked out nice. Lower high would be nice here, just don't come down so quick. Come on. Okay, second entry short here. Push above that bar. Come on. I mean, there's still a possibility of a wider channel. That's what's making me a little bit nervous. We need to trap that bar, really, because if we got this channel, there's a higher low there. If we trap there, there'll be some shorts below there and there, I think. So that is a possibility, but I don't think so. So we'll have to see what happens here. Yeah, Thomas Wade's just put, I'm thinking about a second entry short. So It's nice to know other people are thinking along the same lines. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do with that. I haven't got a better bar on the other chart either, unfortunately. Yeah, he's literally just put that on there. Thinking about a second entry short, so it's a good idea. Oh, look at that. It is frustrating. That's so frustrating. You just can't take that, really, but if that was bearish, that would be an absolute beauty. But it's just one of those things. What can you do? Do you know the annoying thing is when it passes there, it's just going to come steaming down, I think. There'll be liquidity there and some there as well after that overshoot. Some took it, but it's just the bar was naff. It was about as neutral as you can get, really. Anybody take that or not? It's a shame, really, but the only thing that worried me about taking a poor bar like that, watch it. Another one here as well. That would have been a beautiful move. I'd have been inclined to put my profit down there, actually, right below there, a couple of ticks, because when it passes that, or I expect it to pass that. Right, it was too quick. Yeah, the bar just wasn't enough for me, unfortunately. So, you see, he didn't have a bad bar there. Look, Thomas Wade. Second entry short, but the bar was naff, so he didn't take it. A couple did. He did. He didn't have a very good bar. I don't know, some people, if you trade like that, it's perfectly okay. It closed below there, but for me it's not good enough because there's always that possibility of a wider up, of a two-tiered channel. It's kind of working along that mix, so it's unlikely, but it's possible it could go up that little bit more. So it was a little bit unclear. If that was bearish, I'd have taken it for sure, and that would have been a good move. I'd have probably put my stop, my take profit, probably. Now, I normally go for 3 points, but under these circumstances, I'd probably put it a couple of ticks below there, maybe there. I'd have gone for 4 points there, because once it gets below there, you're going to get that little push, aren't you? And when this closed, that came right the way down, broke that, and had a little bit of pullback. So it's a shame there. That would have been a really nice move. Yeah, sometimes you've only got to have that little bit of doubt in your head, and it's not a clear setup. You know, my gut was telling me we got a leg and a leg down because it messed around so much here. And when we had that decent pullback, that is telling me it's more likely going to come down because you might get a break from this and then a new high, but we got a tight channel here with an overshoot and then a strong move down, and then a couple of attempts, but that bar, I suppose, just out of the fun of you may put an order down here and see if it just does decide to duck. But for me, I'm all or nothing. If I take a trade where I have any doubts, that's where I suffer. I kick myself, and I find it hard to deal with. If I take a trade that I believe is a good setup, I'm perfectly okay with that. And you know, that only will give me 2 to 3 trades a week, but it's more than enough to make a decent amount of money on. But it's a shame that bar wasn't a little bit better. Yeah, it's just a shame. I mean, I get people having a go and taking it. I think if you're going to risk a trade, take a riskier trade. The setup was nice, but the bar just didn't pan out just as nice as we expected. But I did have just that little bit of doubt in my mind that this may be a two-tiered channel and it could fit. We could have a leg down here, high or low, and it could push up. It's always possible, maybe retest these highs. So that put a doubt in my mind, and then when the bar finished like that, I just couldn't take it. With that doubt, if we'd had a bearish bar, I then would have had a go at it because it's a nice second entry short and a break. It's not a huge risk either, I don't think that. So it's a shame, but it's just that's how trading is sometimes. But you've got to be forced to walk away. So it's what 2.5 points, tick above, tick below. That's a relatively that's a relatively small risk these days. But yeah, if I've got a doubt, and it's not only one doubt, two doubts, I have to let it go. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? I think you're always best, if you got a doubt, is to walk away, because you want that control. You want that mental control to be able to refuse a trade. When you're sort of new and you're beginning, you can't help yourself but jump into a trade. But the sort of more experience you get, you have to, if something doesn't feel right, you have to let it go. You know, you can't let those emotions and that little bit of excitement make you press the button. It does happen from time to time. We all take impulsive trades, kind of, you know, on the fly a little bit. That's just part of the nature of, you know, quite fast-moving trading. You know, if you're trading an hourly chart or a 30-minute chart, you can afford to take a few breaths and work it out. But with this, we don't have the luxury of time, unfortunately. But this is very much looking like a leg and a leg. So I fully expect this to come down to, I don't know, at least the open, I'd say. So I think the only, looking for shorts, I suppose, the only thing about looking for a short when we've broken this area here is having a break of this channel. Because if we're doing something like this, and it touches there, there, and there, taking a short here would make me a bit nervous because we've broken these levels here. So I would expect a break here. So it would have to be one hell of a good short to get me in here. Yeah, sometimes I wonder whether I'm a bit overcautious. But you know, when I see other trades saying they, you know, they've no trades today, I think I'm more or less in that right area, because, you know, waiting for something that's 100% perfect. They get very close, and occasionally once in a while we do get one. But I think it's always best. What I find is I can look at a trade now and go, and I absolutely love it, or something doesn't feel right. Those ones I absolutely love, I just jump in straight away and take them. But sometimes, you know, there's a bit of a doubt. If the setup's right and the signal bar's right and the context is right, I won't hesitate, I'll jump in. But if there's something, and that'll still get you 2 or 3 trades a week, I think, and that's plenty. Less trades you take, really, the sort of the better you do. I think more trades equals, well, it obviously depends how you trade. Some people may take 20, 30 trades and then make a fortune, but I think less trades is better trading pat, personally.
Order filled. Target filled.
Happy days. So I'm about 500 off passing this one. I thought that was worth a go to the bottom. So there is a lower high here. What to do? I'm leaving this. It's actually it's a lower high. It is 2 pushes up and a lower high, but as I say, I have a feeling this could have a break here. You are a guru on the evals. The evals I can do okay. It's the rest of them. I tend to trade evals more on gut feeling now, where I think it's likely to go just in the short term. So we've got a leg, and what I like is channel down, one attempt to go high, second attempt to go high. So I think the chance of breaking these lows are pretty good. So let's see if I was right to leave that. I don't like these wicks. Something doesn't feel right. There's a little leg with a break. So I think that is vulnerable. If we get a failure, it may not be, but there's just something about this I don't like. So let's see if that gets stopped out. It may hold. Sometimes he's down the deck as you're in a downtrend anyway. Sometimes that'll just save your neck. But I think that's vulnerable. It's quite a distance from there to there. And it's a little bit sideways now. So I'll be surprised if that doesn't get stopped out. It's easy liquidity, I think. There we go. So another good decision to stay out of it. It was a lower high and it is fitting nice in the channel, but there's just something about it that just doesn't. See what I mean about I was expecting a break, and we've had a leg and a leg up. Now we've broken these lows. I don't expect it to free flow down, although I do expect it to come down. So let's see a couple of legs here, then maybe leg and a leg, maybe we come down. So there's that measured leg. Perfect.
Order filled.
Very tempting, that. It is a triple test, isn't it? Oh, I'm taking a risk here. 1, 2, 3, triple test, leg and a leg. Come on, come bearish. Maybe not such a guru now, Karina. 1, 2, 3. Come on, drop your devil. I'm risking this. It's only $33. 1, 2, 3. It's a triple test. Not only that, it's a leg and a leg. This has got to work, surely. Okay. Yeah, not so much. Not so much. I do like the context. We haven't had another leg down here. This is just a few pullbacks, so I'm just willing to move it and risk the account. It's $30, $33, which is about 25 English pound. We're also coming up to this level here, so hopefully we get a bounce here, leg and a leg. Breaking a low. Yeah, maybe it is. It's hard to say. I just think we're going to get another leg down. So we had a similar thing here, didn't we? It got a bit messy, but then dropped. It's hard to say, really. I do expect that new low. I mean, if it's a range, which it kind of looks like it is, I think there's a good chance we get at least down here to this midline. But yeah, I grant you it's not the easiest looking. It's not obvious, is it? Which is why I'm not trading it. I'm just trading an evaluated apex. Read the new rules. No, we haven't had anything yet, Jan. Don't come and get me. Go down. Go on. In fact, this looks like it's bottoming, in all fairness. Bounce, bounce, bounce. It does, doesn't it? I might have to get out of here. But we are at this area, aren't we? So, leg and a leg. This could drop, and if it does, that's good news. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. If it comes any higher, it's going up. So, just going to stay out of it. In fact, now let's take it up a bit. We've got a little bit to go here. No, we're still waiting for them, Jan. Hopefully, there'll be any time now. Yeah, fingers crossed, eh? I've got one account about $500 away from a payment, but I'm going to try and hold mine to get 3,000 or 4,000, I think, at least, and then maybe just take 1,000 from each. I got to get out of this, I think. It's that far in now. Sometimes for an evaluation, might be better off just holding an open. Okay, we're at this line here. Let's see if anything happens here. It's not going to, is it? No, this looks like it's bottoming. I think I got to get out of this. Might be too late. Bounce, bounce, bounce. To the fail set. Second entry short, long, did you? I'm just hoping there may be a bigger channel. This may start to come down at some point, in which case this follows it. But in fact, let's bring this down here anyway. Oh, I don't mind taking risks on these. Sometimes you get a bit lucky. Not today, though. Oh, this is my one and only chance. Triggered that bull bar on that line. It's not going to work, I don't think, is it? Any second now. That's it. Should take me out now.
Order
Oh, there we
filled.
go. Watch it turn now. So let's have a look. This is quite hard to read today. This is odd, isn't it? It's a bit all higgledy-piggledy, for want of a better word. There's a bottom and a top, but it's just odd. Came down and made a new low, but there's just, I don't know. In fact, it's that yesterday's highs. It looks like we bounced around about yesterday's highs, somewhere around about there, so that might be why, leg in a leg. So I wonder whether we're going to kind of bounce between these levels now. Oh, I don't know. Not an easy day. How long have we been going for? 55 minutes. Let's see if we bounce here somewhere. So we had a couple of legs up. We pulled back and bounced, and we've been working there, so I like that. There's a little bit of support resistance there. You can see it there, and now here. This is interesting. Slow, isn't it? It's hard to find out exactly what's going on, really. The structure's not super clear, is it? By the looks of things, this is coming down here, so whether it'll just retest this. So maybe that is touch, touch, touch. Maybe this is just a little bit of a range. Yeah. Just seeing if there was a channel down. I can't really see one. Just doesn't really work, does it? Not really. So I think best we've got, there's definitely some resistance there. You can see it there and you can see it there. I wouldn't take that because it's in this channel. It may just trap you and sort of push up. But we've got a bounce down here and you can see there's a bit of support there. And also yesterday's highs, well, the close of yesterday's highs, you can see it there, there and there. So maybe we just ricochet between these two areas. I suppose is about as good as an idea I've got, but just let's have a look. Channel down. I'm not taking anything here, I don't think. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick break while it's sorting itself out. I'll make a quick cup of tea and I'll be about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, what's happening? So, leg and a leg. It's just unclear, really, isn't it? Actually, there is a second entry short here on my other chart. It's just 16 ticks. Second entry short, 16 ticks. I don't fancy that. It is working, I think, but I just don't like it. Three points would be there. Tough one. Just not sure about this at the moment. It's just unclear. I don't want to take a short because I don't know. We're in the middle of the top and bottom here. Now, it may work, but it's just unclear. Easiest trading day today again. Yesterday wasn't great. So this is looking rangy now, whether this you would consider the top or this. I think this is there's definitely some support there or some resistance there. You can see it right the way along there. So leg and a leg. See how we get on. Oh, it's not easy today, is it? It is difficult, mate. Yeah, you're right. It's confusing me. Just not clear. I mean, look, we've got a lower high there, lower high, so it kind of looks like it may continue down, but you just, at the moment where it is, you just really don't know. It could come right back up to the top, or it could come right back up to the bottom. For me, it'd be a coin flip. If this is a range from here to here and here, could be coming down, two attempts to push up, and then down to these lows, or break, two attempts to go down up to these highs. I got no idea. This is a sitting on your hands day, I think. Certainly, yesterday wasn't much better either. All this was just flipping messy, wasn't it? Just same again. It's just, what can you do here? I think the only one that I saw there, the second entry long, but it was just a massive bar, wasn't it? I think Mac took that, didn't he? I just wouldn't take that, to be honest with you. It's just messy. You just don't know what it's going to do. Good on you, Jan. Have a good, sorry, mate, I got a mouthful of Brazil nuts. Sorry. You have a good day, bud. Just a damn shame that wasn't a nicer bar. That would have been a beauty. There is a possible triple test. There's certainly some support here, but I just couldn't bring myself to take that, to be honest with you. It's not one of my strong points. And I don't know, is it going to trick you and come down? I've got no idea. It's just not clear, unfortunately. Not only that, this chart is looking like it's going to come down. I just can't take nothing down there. It's 15 ticks and ain't finished yet. Do absolutely anything. Oh dear me, what is going on? I have a feeling this could just drop. Looking at this here, we've had 3 drops down and we're going sideways here. This could just drop. This, I just have a feeling this thing could just drop straight below here, head towards here. But it's just You can't trade it. You can't trade this. It's congested. It's at the bottom. It's at support. I just have a gut feeling this is just going to come straight down below this, and then straight down towards these lows. There is kind of a failure here. The trouble is, when we're making lower, clearly making lower highs and lower lows, so I don't see how I can go long here. Yeah, it's kind of rangy, but it's kind of down as well. So, unfortunately, there's just nothing I can do here. I just have this feeling this thing's going to drop. It's starting to, once I get below here. Oh, it doesn't look terrible. I like the way we're bouncing off that midline. Oh, this is horrible. There's nothing you can do here. You won't want to go long because of this. Although it may bounce here and push up to the top, I don't know. No idea. Not a clue. I think Thomas Wayne's just hit the hammer on the nail. Not my favourite structure. The trade, two sides with the bearish imbalance. Can't buy at the bottom sellers. Yeah, it's nothing you can do here. It's just one of those unfortunate times where there's just no clear. I mean, you know, you could say we're kind of going sideways here. Like I say, that one could lead to a complete bounce in here, but you just don't know because it's unclear. There is a slight bearish imbalance to it, which sort of stops you going long, really, but it's not enough of a bearish imbalance to think about going short. So what I will say is the NQ doesn't actually fit too bad there. We got a touch, a touch, a touch, a touch, and a touch. So I like the way it sits off the midline. So I would have said it's more likely to go down, but I certainly wouldn't want to trade it. I'm not that confident. So we got back to the EMA. There's a few bars there. There's a bearish bar, which is triggered, pushed down, but then we're getting a pullback on it. So it's unclear at the moment. Just sitting and waiting, unfortunately. From what I can see here, there's definitely, I'd say there's bulls trapped along here. From there, leg down, I'd say there's going to be stops around here. Because as soon as we start to get down here, we push back. So this is definitely an area that's being protected, I think. Trouble is, when it is going sideways and bouncing like that, I think the tendency sometimes is to think about long. But for me, this is itching to push down below. We know we got the lows of the day down here, and this is quite likely going to be a range day. So for me, I think this is coming down. I took a trade like this a few weeks ago. It really looked like it was pushing up, and I took a trade here, and a load of us did, I think, and it just shot down and took a load of us out. So there's a higher low there, which is triggered. If it gets down below here and gets down below here, I can see the second part of that leg down, I would have said, which could take us down certainly towards this sort of low area. There's definitely a bearish feel to it. It just needs to break below these, these levels here. So a little higher low there, triggered, stopped out straight away. Once it gets below here and here, ideally here, then I expect it to continue down then. Tough one, this is. Okay, now we're down. Once we got below there, for me, it was working its way down. So it's broken this area here. So I think the next stop is here, really. So horrible in it today. Horrible price action. It's actually working really nice off that midline. Oh, this is hard going today. This is really slow. Interesting. Right up to the top of there and touch that top of the line. Interesting. Right at that line, we got 3 bars there that can't get above that line. See if we get a lower high here. Ah, okay, it's closed above that line now. No idea what's going on here. Just wondering whether this... It's too shallow there, isn't it? Yeah, it's too shallow for me. Tough day today. How long have we been going for? An hour and 45 minutes. It has been some awfully slow days lately. Just messy. So we've had this channel with a break, a couple of legs up, and we've had 2 legs down. Let's see what happens here. We've had a channel break new high. See if it confirms this bigger channel. So it's hard to know what's going on here. Is there a downtrend? Is it kind of rain? I got no idea if it's in between both. Let's have a look at the 10,000. Okay, this is the 10,000 chart. It's not really giving us much more, is it? Leg and a leg. A leg and a leg, I'm guessing. Not quite. Not an easy day today. Well, that's fine. It's a good exercise in patience. If you can sit through days like today and not feel that urge to take a trade, I think that's pretty good. That's interesting. Big bearish bar there. Let me see if I can adjust this a little bit. That actually still works. Do you know what? I like that. Very tempted to take that. It's 16 ticks, though. See if we get a lower high. You could definitely say that fits. In fact, you could even put that there. Or if you leave it there, fits pretty well on the bottom, so it kind of confirms that. So we got a channel with a break in new high, big bearish bar right at this line. I like that. My patience, Lance, that's the most impressive skill of yours. It's strange, isn't it? Because that used to be my worst attribute. And it's definitely got better after a while. I think, Speedy, you just learn after a while, mate. If you don't, patience. I mean, I've really had to work hard at it, whether it's just come naturally or what. But I mean, if you look back at my videos, I had terrible patience. What I found is I'd sit through, 3 hours of trading and end up taking a stupid trade in the last 5 minutes. So I think after a while you just learn the only thing you can do is sit and wait for a good setup, and if you don't get one, you don't get one. And as frustrating as it can be sometimes, you kind of can't do nothing about it, really. Do you know what I mean? You just have to kind of be there when one appears. You're on the downhill right now because of it. Yeah, it does take time, mate. I don't think there's a quick fix to being a trader. I think it's just spending time here every day. Wherever I used to be getting ready for trading, I used to have that little tingle in me belly, nerves, kind of excitement, a bit of fear. And those kind of raw emotions, when you're sat in a plane waiting to jump out at 11,000 feet, you're not calm, are you? You're sat with nerves. And I used to trade a lot like that. And I think everybody does. And you have it all the time, yeah. Eventually, it's like anything. The more you do something, the more mundane. So if all of a sudden I give you £10 million now, $10 million, and you went out, bought a Ferrari, and you bought this, you bought that, you'd have a fantastic time. But within about 6 months, it would soon become nothing special, because once you've had it and you've done it, it kind of goes away. They say the sort of money doesn't buy you love, and it's true. Or money doesn't buy you happiness, rather. It does initially, and it takes the edge off it, but sooner or later, I mean, you see all these, these, obviously mentioning about Liam Payne, who was found dead yesterday, I think. Now, 31-year-old guy who was part of probably arguably the biggest band in history, endless amounts of money, 31, good-looking guy, could get any woman he liked. Just everything kind of going for him. And then you wonder why sometimes they end up going for all these mental health issues, because initially everything's great. You get money, you get fame, but sooner or later these things wear off. And I think it's maybe not the best example, but the more you do something, all you need is peace and love for everyone. Well, I'm not really religious myself, but I'll take that on board. I'm not really not religious either. I'm kind of but yeah, you make a good point. Peace and love, actually. Yeah, we need a lot more than that. That's for certain, don't we? But yeah, I'm not necessarily a believer. I'm not really a disbeliever either. I like to think there's something. But sometimes when you see all these sort of bad things happening in the world, and a lot of the time to good people, it does seem to be the good people that suffer. It does make you question these things, but yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? But yeah, you're definitely right about the peace and love, mate. Absolutely. But, I think the more you sit here and have these emotions, they wear away. They'll never be the same. I've mentioned it loads of times, but a good example is when I was a bit younger, I did a little bit of skydiving. The first time I jumped out of a plane, I almost but shit myself. But once you've done it 30, 40, 50 times, it does start to become quite mundane, and you wouldn't think it would. But it's like anything. The more you do something, again, day in, day out, sooner or later it becomes nothing special. It just becomes a normal day. So it does take time, but the more you just come here every day, sooner or later, it won't be scary, it won't be nervous. You'll take a lot less impulsive trades, and you'll be able to think a bit clearer and kind of let your brain make the decisions rather than, your brain and your gut, rather than that sort of fear and emotions. I still take impulsive trades once in a while, but my patience is getting better. I think did I trade once on all my accounts last week, and I think twice on one individual account, which is not a lot, really. It's not a lot for me. But the way I see it now, you do all these, we'll have a go at that. It's a bit risky, but we'll have a go. And I never seem to get much further. But when I sit and just wait for those good setups, things start to happen. So sooner or later, you've got to bang your head against the wall enough times to realise that you bleed. But some people, and I think I'm one of them, are a little bit stubborn. I'm a lot more stubborn than a lot of other people. I tended to want to battle with the market. If I throw money at it, enough of it, it'll work, and it really doesn't. Yeah, that nervous feeling will go. It will. It does take time, but I don't get it anymore at all. When I get into a trade sometimes, but that's getting less and less. And I think then you can think clearly. Once those emotions start to fade, you can think clearly. When I think back how I used to feel trading one evaluation, I can remember distinctly sitting here feeling like someone had my neck in a vice. I was that tense and it was hurting. I was that uncomfortable. And that's how nervous I was just trading one evaluation. Now I'm trading 6 PAs and I've got none of that. So it does eventually go away. And I think sometimes, you read all these books, try journaling, try this. The simple answer is, from my point of view, and it's clear, it just takes time. You need exposure day in, day out of this feeling for it sooner or later to go away and have less of a bearing. And that's the only answer. Maybe all of these things might help you settle a bit, but it's just doing it day in, day out. It's just like going to work. Any type of job you do. I'm pretty sure if you join the army, first time you go in, you're going to be pretty nervous, pretty scared, aren't you? But sooner or later, you do the same thing day in, day out, and sooner or later, it starts to not have that same effect. So I nearly took that one, and I kind of liked it. It kind of fitted together really nice with this. So I will be surprised if that gets broken. I really will be. I'd like to see this and then come down again. But there is a certain amount of sideways in here. If you look at that now, if I sort of zoom out and look at that, it actually fits really nice. Really nice down the bottom. I'll borrow a few ticks and come from here somewhere. Touch, touch, touch. But if this pushes up, which it is, it's pushed up and stopped that out, which I'm surprised. So maybe this is more rangy than I initially thought. So in all fairness, it's only a first entry anyway, that one. So it's really not the one to take. A second entry there might be a better option, but it is risky. Let's see how this falls. If it closes within this line bearish, I may look for a lower high. It has. Back to our confusing picture again now. I'm not so sure about that now. Let's get rid of this. I think it's looking more rangy now. Considering it's kind of flowing freely and not too congested, it's still quite hard to... It's very random in its moves. It's an odd-looking day, to be fair. I mean, this leg down, bunch of sideways, leg down, pretty straightforward. Bit of a mess towards the end, but, you know, pretty straightforward. Once you can get a trade or something, then you can... and obviously, the latter part of yesterday was more just slowly pushing up, then sideways. And that was the end of the day. But today, there's a few. I mean, we got a leg down with a kind of a break and then a new low, and then we've bounced off here. So I would have suggested from what I'm seeing now, it's more likely a range. It's definitely created some support there. You can see it. So we've got a channel with a break and a new high. So if we can get a lower high, break these highs, especially that one, and get a lower high, that may interest me, but it's hard to say. We've had a channel with a break and we've had two legs down. So it may go a lot higher. I just don't know. The fact that we've had this leg and a break and a measured move tells me maybe this is the bottom of the, you know, the bottom of the move, and from now on it's up. I really don't know. Well, you know, most of the time we usually have a fair idea, but the trouble is if you don't know what direction you're going in, it's hard to trade. If that had been a better bar, that may have interested me. I've just looked on my other chart and it actually was there. We've got leg, and we've kind of got two legs back and a big bearish bar. So I actually kind of like that. And it is a second entry short. It's also a failure. But that's what it looked like on here. So it was more of a neutral bar. But that's my point about having another chart. But at the time, I was focused on this. But you can see there's two legs back. And we hit this area. But it's because of the wick I stayed out of that. And also, there's a bit of support there as well. That didn't feel comfortable. If ever I'm taking a short, I always look left. And you can clearly see that there is some support around there, which kind of made me a bit nervous. Okay, so channel with a break, new high. I'd like to break these highs here. Trouble is, there's probably going to be some stops above this area, so whether it'll go any higher or not, I really don't know. Okay, that is looking, so we got this leg down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. That's looking pretty bearish to me. And that is high enough after breaking those highs to move down now. This one isn't, unfortunately. No, so there's just I can't take a trade there, unfortunately. There's some space up there, so it could trigger and push up, and also two little legs down. I wouldn't want to go long here, and I certainly wouldn't want to go short here at the moment, although I do think it's a rangy, and obviously if we can get up to the tops, I do think it's likely we're going to come down, but it's just nothing you can take here, exactly. Yeah, someone else has just put that on, same as I had. And he has as well. That was mine. So, I don't know, maybe there is. Just to me, it looks like a channel with a break. Two pushes down in the way of a perfect measured leg, but within a tick or two. So let's have a look what's going on here. So that looks like it's about to get stopped out. I actually thought that, if it is in a range, wouldn't be a bad, because we've had a leg and a leg, wouldn't be a bad setup. Because we've been up here with 3 bars, and then we broke above all this, and then came bearish, so I didn't think that was a bad setup, although I always wait for lower highs for that obvious reason. 2 legs, but maybe this thing's got other plans. Not easy. Let's see if we can find something that may be like a spiking channel. Thomas Wade's just popped that on, so he's thinking the same thing. Spiking channel, although he's got his a little steeper than mine. And he's thinking range as well, so I think we're all on the same lines. Boring day this is turning out to be. Definitely lower volume again. We've had that all afternoon. Just that. Not a lot. Ah. No, I'm feeling greener. There's nothing worse than a slow moving market. I wonder if it has anything to do with the upcoming elections. Where are they? In about 2 weeks, aren't they? just over 2 weeks. It's very slow. Trouble is, you can't go long here, you can't go short here, because we've got the possibility of a range, which I think is probably more likely. And then we've got maybe a spike in channel. So it could continue to slowly go up. Whatever you're going to do, there's nothing worse than getting into a trade and sitting there for 5 minutes. Yeah, there's always something. Then Christmas, I know it's coming around quick, isn't it? Christmas. It really doesn't seem 5 minutes since last Christmas. We're not far away. We're a couple of months, aren't we, away? Literally. Just over 2 months. Unbelievable. That's the one thing I like about trading, though, at Christmas, is you definitely own more, and I like that. It's nice to be around about home, isn't it, Christmas? Especially if you've got kids. I got I say 15, 16 now. So she still gets a bit excited around Christmas. This is so slow. It's not moving. Look, it's hardly moving. Yeah, we do. We like Christmas in the UK. Mind you, in the US, you're big on Christmas as well, aren't you? But yeah, I like it. I like it at Christmas in the UK. I do. In fact, I am tempted to go to fly over to Germany for a weekend to some of the Christmas markets in Germany are supposed to be good. The only trouble is we've got 2 dogs, 2 cockapoos, so it's finding someone to look after them really for a couple of days. But yeah, I'd like to go to some of the German markets. They're supposed to be good. I'd also like to take my daughter to Lapland before she gets too old. In fact, the town I live in, they've even started putting the Christmas decorations up. And then we get late night shopping, as you probably remember, Karina, on Wednesdays. Because I know US things are a lot different over there, but shops generally close at around about 5:30 in the UK. Obviously, apart from supermarkets, and bars and restaurants and all that. But shops in general tend to shut around about 5:30. But I think every Wednesday leading up to Christmas, they tend to open to about 9. So it's kind of nice in the evening. Everything's dark. The Christmas lights are on. And it's nice. We go out for a meal. But there's a big square with a clock tower where I live, and it's about 400 or 500 years old. And they have, Christmas carols and all that sort of thing. So we usually book the restaurant which overlooks that, and it's all beautiful and lit up. And then we usually have a nice meal. Yeah, Christmas. They have some lovely Christmas markets in the town that I live as well. Being sort of an old, sort of Tudor, lots of old Tudor buildings. Some of the buildings in our town could go back hundreds and hundreds of years. Our castle is over 800 years. So there's a lot of history in Shrewsbury. So it's kind of nice at Christmas. Loads of black and white old Tudor buildings just everywhere. But sometimes in your own towns or your own cities, you take things for granted. I mean, I used to walk to work that goes through the town and then down to the train station. On the right, you've got the castle, which is 800 years old. On the left, we've got our now library, a very old stone building, which was where Charles Darwin went to school. So we've got a lot of history in Shrewsbury, but when you sort of see it every day, you tend to take it for granted. But yeah, we got a lot of history. This is so slow. You know, I think we've had 3 bars in the last 5 minutes. Okay, so you could argue there's a small break there. But if we get a new high, would I want to go short? I don't know at the moment. I just think it's going to be one of those days today, which is a bit slow and a bit just, there's not a lot around really. If that was a better bar there, I may have had a go at that one. And that was I think the trade of the day, that one was. It's just unfortunate we had a bad bar because we had this channel down and then we had this break. We went a bit sideways, up a little bit, overshoot, and then we had a strong move back, 2 pushes back up to the EMA, and both times it held, trapping a few longs in there. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see whether Mac marks that. He may mark that one with a green bar because it may be a little bit more aggressive, but if that was a bearish bar, a clear red bar, I'm 100% taking that. I like that one. We had that strong move from the EMA, 2 pushes up, and obviously didn't it work beautifully and relatively quickly. So I don't know, some will take those. I tend to, for me, I'm very much all or nothing, so I have to wait for as close to perfect as we can. I'm a little bit sort of picky. And if I do take a risky trade that I know is a risky trade, that's when I tend to, sometimes I can go on tilt really. So the safest way for me to stay away from tilt is just to wait for a setup that I believe is a good one. And then most of the time they'll work. You do get the odd one that catches us out from time to time, but I can deal with those. I don't mind those as long as I take what I believe is a good setup. Even if it's slightly more risky, sometimes I don't mind having a go as long as it's got certain attributes to the trade. You know, the context is right. I did an R about that one. Unfortunately, if I'd have looked up on my other chart, it was better. But at the time, I was kind of focused. Actually, no, was it? No, it wasn't actually. No. That was it there, channel down. So no, but it kind of wasn't. It wasn't. I don't know whether you consider that as an entry. It's not technically a second entry. There's a second entry, but doesn't Thomas Wade trade these as double bar entry or something? I might have to find out actually, because I mean, you know, it clearly looking bearish there, isn't it? So I'll have to find out actually about this double bar entry that he talks about from time to time. I think I could touch that there and adjust this ever so slightly so that will fit. Touch 1, 2, 3, 4 bars there, right on the tails. Touching nice there, touching nice. So I kind of think that's okay. So channel down with a break, 2 pushes to a new low. So clearly 2 legs. So this to me, I'm almost getting the feel this may be a reversal. Obviously, it's got to get above all this first, but if it does, then we may end up getting back up to the top. I don't know, really. It would kind of make sense, wouldn't it? But yeah, it's not a straightforward day. It's definitely a day. Need to stay away from bad setups, otherwise I'm getting to it. Yeah, it is. It's simple when you think about it, but in real terms, when those emotions are there, it kind of feels impossible. You know, I had moments of feeling I have no control at all when I go on tilt. It really does feel like they describe like someone else takes hold of the wheel, and you almost slip into this sort of panic zone. It is fight and flight, isn't it? You slip in this panic and you have no control. You either make your money back in a little bit and manage to walk away, or you lose the whole account. And you've got to do that so many times to so that feeling and those emotions start to drift and you start to gain more control. And I'm definitely there now. I tend to, it's a nicer feeling to know you're in control, because I've set up to now, someone has asked me why don't I trade my own account? Purely simply because I don't trust myself. I don't trust myself that those emotions aren't going to rear their ugly head and take over. I'm going to blow the account. But I am getting closer to feeling like I'm in control. I'm, let's say, 80% in control now, I think. And I think that's enough to be able to stop myself from making a stupid move. But I've had to be honest with myself and saying I need to sit here and wait for a good setup. Nothing more, nothing less. A slightly risky setup or a gut feeling, let's go with it. I can't do it. I trade evaluations like that, but I have to trade these the right way, which is kind of why I only do about 3 hours, because it does take, a fair amount of concentration if you want to do it right every time. I don't think I could sit here with the same patience for 8 hours a day like some people do. I did in the beginning, the first year and a half, I sat here as much as I could. When I was working full-time, I'd come here and sit 3 hours in an evening. And then I'd, look at charts, from previous days and go through those with the arrow key, moving them across. But I have found now sometimes I'm better off, less is more with me, getting in a focus for 3 hours and then knock it on the head. But, eventually as I sort of get better at it, if it's a particularly quiet week and there's not a lot of trade rounds, then I may, decide to come back for an hour later and, do a little bit more. I mean, if you're not taking any trades, the only option may be to, to sort of come back. But, even if I take one trade a week, still over $1,200 a month. If you've got 10 accounts, it's a fair amount of money. That doesn't often happen, but I certainly thinking by waiting for really good quality setups and going for 3 points, and they almost always work, good setups. And I can sort of worry about taking less trades and not kind of be forced to get into trades thinking that I'm not going to make any money, because ultimately that's what we're all here for. So it does look like this thing is now moving up. We're above this now. That we've not clipped this level now, so there's always a chance it could break that and then turn back down. I'm going to remove that for a minute, if I can get it to. A channel break, 2 pushes down to a new low. So this does look like now it's a reversal. So we'll see. Once it gets above there, I'll be a little bit more settled then. But it's still a channel that could break easy and it could upset you. So we're coming up to this level now. How long have we been going? Okay, 30 more minutes and I think I'm done. I think 3 hours is enough. I did take a trade on one of my accounts here just for 1.5, but I went with... Has Marco finished already? I think he has. Yeah, he has. Marco's finished already. What has he taken? So he's taken that there. And he's taken that there. Yeah, see, I've taken trades like that and been caught out in a downtrend, so that's one I wouldn't personally take. That one a bit congested. But he's more experienced than me, so if you know what you do. He didn't necessarily take these. He just marked them, but I'm glad he's not marked anything there, because to be honest with you, apart from that there, and he had a naff signal bar, to be honest with you, apart from that one, there's nothing else I can see. He marked it exactly the same as mine. pretty much it's the same as mine, but yeah, that one I wouldn't take purely and simply because it's sideways, and it is an overshoot, but sometimes after an overshoot we can have a steeper correction, which we clearly have, and it can continue up. So that one for me, not personally. I tend to avoid, we've got a really strong downtrend, I tend to avoid trades like that. Not that they're not going to work. I took one very similar a month, 3 weeks ago, and it bit me. So, but Mark only does 3 hours. I think it's enough. It's certainly enough for me. So that's interesting. We've pushed above there, close that off, so any stops there have lightly disappeared now. So is this coming down? I mean, is this a small overshoot? Yeah, you certainly could. We've got perfect touch, perfect touch. We could argue it is. So it's turned at the area that I think if it's going to work as a range, this is where it's likely to be, break above that and come back down, but I'm not sure whether I would want to trust that and take something short, because it's a hard day today, and it's a shame to sit here for over 2.5 hours and end up taking something silly and end up 300 down, and then I've got to take a trade one more again just to get back to where I was. So I think if you've got any doubt, you're always best just to not take a trade. That's interesting. There is a lower high there. So let me just check this again. No, for me, that looks like it's still fitting in that channel. So, and we're still getting to the top. So at the moment, this is looking less like a range, I think, than this is. It's hard to say today. It really ain't easy. Small overshoot as well, but close. What was it? Yeah. I'll just put that. Possible overshoot. He's just put I have a small overshoot as well, but it's close. Yeah, it is. You know, I remember getting caught out in a trade maybe a year and a half ago, and I messaged Mac, and he said, "You've had an overshoot." And I'm not kidding you. It was the tiniest overshoot you've ever seen. I mean, it literally was smaller than that. You know, it was maybe something like this. It was tiny, and that's why it didn't work. So he told me. So sometimes, and it's touch perfect there, and we have a strong push up, and then we have a few bars there, followed by quite a quick pullback, which tells me that may be an overshoot. And also we've hit this level, and it is pretty much ranging. So what you could say is there's the top of the range. We've had a breakout here and possibly one here. A lot of times, as we know, you'll get one at the bottom, then one at the top, or vice versa. So it doesn't look terrible, that. but I'm just not ready to go short at the moment, because if it isn't an overshoot and I take a short here, it could trigger me, give us a bullish bar and give us a second entry long. So I'm not in the market for a long here, not into that, and I'm not in the market for a short either. See, although it looks like an overshoot there, we haven't got an overshoot on the NQ. This is fitting kind of nice, but we've got a leg down and a bearish bar that's possibly trapped, so we could come down a bit more. So that may trigger this and then give us a second entry long, but I can't go long or short in here. I don't want to go long because of the possible overshoot. If you ever get an overshoot, I think you're always best to avoid the first long and give it time to figure itself out. I wouldn't go short here because of the possible range, because we're also moving up. So I got mixed feelings here, so nothing I can do, unfortunately. So that kind of wouldn't look like a terrible second entry long. It certainly wouldn't on the NQ. But I don't know. I just don't like it. I wouldn't want to go long or short here. The possible overshoot it stops me from going long. And the uptrend stops me from going short. So, yeah, Thomas Way's just put that on. So he's looking at the same thing as me. So that gives me a little bit of comfort, but I'm not the only one. It's nice to see others thinking along the same lines. It just gives your thoughts a little bit more credence. So that wouldn't be a terrible second entry long if we wouldn't have had the overshoot and if we weren't coming up to support. So unfortunately, nothing I could do at the moment. I mean, it could come careering down, it could hit the top of a range. Top of range and in conjunction with an overshoot could send it down. But it might not. Yeah, Taylor's just posted that he's got an overshoot, so there's three of us thinking along the same lines, and mine as well, so that, and him as well, so he hasn't, but I think more have than haven't, so I would certainly avoid a long here. It's not only the overshoot where I avoid a long, the fact that we could be hitting the top of range. I mean, it kind of looks rangy, doesn't it, there? We've had that big push up, push down, up to the top, and we're kind of going up and down, aren't we? So okay, interesting. Excuse me just for a quick minute. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Okay, so that's lower high did work, but because of this range looking move, I can't do nothing here. Not only that, if it is a range, we've had a break out of it here. So there is a small one there, but not as much as I would have expected. So let's see if we can trap some longs here, because there's going to be traders going for a new extreme. So see if we can get like a second entry long to trap and then maybe catch it coming down. Okay, so there is like a second entry long there. Let's see if we can trap some traders there. It may work, but nice to trap some. Possible fair here, but you've got to be so careful that we don't get a higher low to go long here. It's just no room to the lows for starters. Yeah, that doesn't look like it's pushing down strong enough for me, so even if it was bearish, I'll stay out of that, I think. I'm just not sure. It could trigger and push up for a higher low. NQ's looking a little bit congested as well, so I'm just sitting tight here. I just don't like what it's doing today. It's unpredictable. It's not very clear. And you can see it's flipping bouncing all over the place. I mean, there is an overshoot and there is a possible range top, so it could work. Slow today. We've had that. Where's that? 4:30. Where are we? We've had that in the last hour. Tell a lie. We've had that in the last hour. Just that. Couple of legs up and down. So slow. There's just nothing you can do, and unfortunately, it's just too risky. There is an overshoot, so it could come down, but you could adjust that, and it could go up. So I think there's more reasons to go short here than long. I mean, one, because of the overshoot, and two, because of the range top. But you just never know. I'm sitting out of this. It can mess you around. It really can trick you. This thing is designed to make your life miserable. and it does a pretty good job of it. See if we can get a couple of attempts to push up here. There was a failure which looked better on my other chart, but I still, something about it I didn't like. It was a clear failure, maybe trapping some longs, but look, it came down a little bit and now it's starting to work back up. So I'm glad I stayed out of this because it's, I don't know, it's 2 legs down and sideways. It's just too risky. I just don't like the price action today. It's untrustworthy. We have days where, you know, you know what's going on. You can see clearly the legs. It's playing the game. And other days where it's very random in its movements. Just nothing tends to fit very well. So if we can make a couple of attempts to come up, then I think there's a good chance this could come down. Looking on the NQ, it is congested, but maybe, no, there is a possible second entry short here. So whether that'll work or not, I got no idea. But it is a channel down with 1 leg up, 2 leg up, a couple of pushes anyway, or a triple test or whatever you want to call it. Maybe something like that. Possibly anyway. It's a second entry short, but I wouldn't trade it. I just don't trust nothing on this price at the moment. There is a higher low there, but I'd want that to trigger. If we could trigger that. The trouble is I'm also looking down here as well to find out where there are stops and liquidity, because obviously that allayed in the sort of move down that I hope is going to happen. So whether there'll be any here. Okay, so that one did work. Well, I say it did work. Back here it would have done. We're already down here now. Excuse me. I wonder. It looks like there's a range here, so we can have a leg and another leg. It's hard to say, really. Coming up 3 hours. Okay. I kind of do have a feeling that this is it's working down. I think they're trying to hold it up, but I'd like to see a breakout, pull back, and then maybe a short. Let's have a look on that NQ. So, I mean, we got a leg down and we're attempting to go lower here. I really don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, these are the days where you've really got to be on your game with patience. It's very easy to get sucked into trades like this. It does make you wonder sometimes how the hell the market moves, which is probably why it's so slow. There's definitely less There's definitely less volume through it today, that's clear. And when it is like this, if you're holding back and I'm holding back, less people are clearly trading it when it is messy and a little bit unpredictable. See, that is an overshoot, so we can have a leg and a leg. I think once we get down from the levels like this, and especially here, I think this is likely to go down. But, you know, that's my gut feeling, but it's not enough of a gut feeling to think about trading it yet. Just based on what I'm seeing. It's going to be the drop, is it? So channel break, new low. Let's see where this goes. Once it gets below this level, you have to be careful that it's not 2 legs down as well. I think 2 legs down may take it down too far, maybe not. This is working down like a channel now, the NQ. Someone's got a buy order down here. Oh, tell a lie. No, it's not. Tell a lie. This is profit. Once it gets down here, I think this is turning into going down. I think realistically, a bit more liquidity down here. I can't see anything else really now. Okay, we've had a leg and a leg now, almost. Now we get a little push up. Oh, tough day, tough day. Tough day at the office. Very slow. I bet Mac will find about 30 though, at least. Actually, I get why Marco marked that now. It's a second entry long, isn't there? 2 legs down, which triggered and come down. So yeah, I get why he took a trade there. It was a clever little trade, I think. Trouble is, it is kind of rangy, but you don't know how far the thing's going to come down. We came nicely off the bottom there, pushed up, and all of a sudden just turned. So you don't know if this thing's going to come down and then rocket up in that direction. It's just very random today. Normally a range like this, you'd trust a move like that, and there'll be 80%, 90% chance it's going to come down here. I'm not so sure at the moment. With this overshoot, I thought, or break, whatever you want to call it, fail breakout, I'd expect something similar up here. And there is, but it's nowhere near as big as that. Yeah, I was just looking at that. Someone's put a chart up there. There is a small break there, I think. Leg and a leg. Small break and a new low. So tough, though, because you have to wait for a higher low up here. But I don't know. It's okay. It's okay and good and well waiting for a new extreme, but sometimes you just don't get them in these ranges. Sometimes they hit a level and come back down. The only option we can do is wait for a higher low and see if anybody takes it and gets trapped. So we've got a break here with a slightly bearish bar. Someone saying a higher low would be nice. I'm not so sure. Leg and a leg. It could come down some more. I'm just going to have to sit on this one and see how I feel about it. But touch, touch, touch. Small break. So leg and a leg. And we've bounced off this midline as well. But it's so unpredictable. This we could get a leg up or two attempts to go higher and we could come down for another leg. But there are a few people talking about actually talking about going long now. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, break no extreme there. High low would be nice. So I think the general thought is this may push up. I think as you sit through this and you see how it reacts, I think you either trust the market or you don't. And at the moment, I have trust issues with this one because it's unpredictable. And that could give you a second entry long, trigger it and come down. I'm just not sure at the moment. We got a spike in channel with an overshoot. We've had a big correction and a push up. Yeah, it's hard to say. There's no higher low anyway, so. See, we've got a channel down here. Is there an overshoot? Look. I'm not so sure about that. Maybe it is. Maybe there's a nice correction there with a push up. Maybe a hidden second entry short. Clear out some liquidity. I don't know. I have a feeling today's going to be a quiet day on the trading front, which is fine. If that's how it is, that's how it is. Taking a trade don't bother me. Sitting here bored does, but not taking a trade. I'm quite happy not taking a trade. If I haven't had anything good enough, that's what my job is, really, to sit here and wait for a good setup and take it if I don't see one. That's kind of how it is. So I used to get more and more impatient as the day went on, and I'd always end up taking a trade in the last 5 minutes or last couple of minutes and end up losing a trade because your patience would go. But that doesn't seem to affect me now, so it's nice to know that, you know, your trading is definitely moving forward. The problem is it does it at a slow pace. It's hard to notice it sometimes, but if you do think back, you can, kind of remember how you used to feel and, how you used to react. And the thing I like about streaming is I can look back nearly 2 years now. I started streaming, I think was it in December or the end of November? Coming up 2 years, so I've got that luxury of being able to look back on my streams and just listen to myself, which I don't do much, but occasionally I'll do. But I've also been saving me charts now for over 3 years, so it is nice to be able to look back and kind of sort of assess and judge how you feel and the type of trades you took, and kind of what you sound like. So there's kind of a hidden second entry short here. I'm staying well out of this at the moment. The fact that it's hit that, I think, is interesting, but I'm just sitting tight here. It's going to be one of those awkward days today. I don't think anything's going to be easy. Patience is going to be your key today. You might have to sit here for hours. Where are we now? I have about 15 minutes left, I think. Yeah, 14 minutes before I can't trade anyway, so that's fine. I like that. 2:30 till 6 o'clock, I think. It's 3.5 hours is fine. I'll tell you what I will say, though. There will be some liquidity up here. I'd say definitely there. If it breaks above there, there may be some there, but just with a higher stop, because when we broke above that, we didn't really do much. So I think if we can generally get above this area, then I think there's a good chance this thing is going to get up towards the highs of the day. Maybe a leg and a leg, but at the moment it's bordering on going up and down. So look at that, perfect measured leg. Look at that, gets us right up. Leg and a leg gets us right up to the highs of the day. So I think there's a good chance that that's going to happen. Whether it will is in the lap of the gods, or the institutional gods, whatever you want to call them. But this could trigger. It could be a higher low. It's gone a bit too far for a higher low, but if you're going to go long, you really want that to trigger. on, you damn thing. What time we got? I got about 8 minutes. Can't see anything happening today. What I will say is we've had a leg with a break and a new low. We've had a push up. We've had a break. There is a, well, it's gone too far for a higher low really, but that bullish bar is possibly trapped. There is a lower high there, so I wouldn't want to trust anything today, to be honest with you. You could say there's a bigger channel, but then there's an overshoot. I don't really know, to be honest with you. I won't be surprised if that gets stopped out, so maybe it will come down a bit. I got no idea. It's one of those days. So you could say that's technically a higher low. Probably going to go up, but it's sideways. It's not enough, close enough to the EMA. I ain't taking it. It looks a bit better on the NQ, leg and a leg. Actually, it's a failure. There's a couple of bearish bars trapped there, definitely there. So this may work on the NQ, but I'm just staying out of this. I don't like that setup for a start. It's gone too far for me. It's not, it would have to come back down here, really. Unfortunately, it's just one of those days which are a right pain in the arse. But what can you do? It's just so slow. The trouble is it doesn't give you any sort of move in direction when it's this slow. It's just kind of stagnant and gives you screenshots. It doesn't give you any kind of real movement to kind of see, you know, happen in front of your eyes. You can't take that, in my opinion. You can't, because you could say 1, 2, 3 triple test and this thing's going down. So we've come down here, we've pushed up once and we've dropped. We've pushed up a second time. You may argue this is the second time, but this thing could flush down. I got no idea. It could continue up. I don't know. I'm staying out of this anyway. I am. It's just one of those days today. What time is it? I've only got 4 minutes anyway. I don't see me taking a trade in 4 minutes when I've sat here for 3.5 hours. So, save my chart for the day. So, one trade earlier, just on one of my accounts. So let's save that. Let's save the NQ. And I think, boys and girls, that is about it. Yeah, it's a tough day today. It's not easy. There's no real structure to it. It is sideways, but it's we've been up here, down here, up here. Where's this going? Down here, up here. It's all over the place. There's no sort of stability there. There's a lot of kind of randomness. It's just a great big push up, then a drop, then a couple of legs up, and a funny bit of tight uptrend, and a couple of drops, and then it is whipping around a bit today. And days like this, really, you've really got to keep your patience, otherwise you just get in trouble. And markets like this are frustrating anyway, but the worst thing to do is get into a crappy trade, because it just turns a frustrating day into just a miserable day. So much better to go away on zero. You haven't done anything stupid. Much better, but yeah, I don't know. This could go bloody anywhere at the moment. It really could continue sideways, could go up, could go down. I wouldn't have a clue. This is a toss of a coin for me. So, no place to take a trade. So, pretty long day, 3.5 hours with no outcome. I got a trade on one account, so I got a couple hundred, $280 odd on there. So it's something anyway. It's paid for me to sit here today. So quiet day today. If you're carrying on trading, best of luck. I hope this thing starts to move for you, but failing that, I'll be back tomorrow, Friday. It'd be interesting to see what Mac marks today, but whenever you think it's going to be an interesting video, and there's hardly any setups, he sticks about 20 out there, and you know, there you go. So I appreciate your comments. I will leave you guys to it. So have a great evening, stay safe, and we'll catch up again tomorrow. Bye for now.